Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to Threshold Thursday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am truly excited that you are tuning in today as we continue our journey through our May theme of nurturing relationships. What a powerful week it has been so far. On Monday, Dr. Will and I, we broke down the foundations of healthy relationships, reminding us that healthy relationships happens when two individual people are actively working on being healthy and decide to share an experience together. Then on Tuesday, I shared the real-time lesson about boundaries that showed us on how important it is to honor our limits, even when it was people who we care about. And yesterday, we had that amazing Lindsay Davis talking about boundaries and self-love, teaching us that the first boundary that we need to establish in order to really love ourselves is the boundary with ourselves. Well, today I want to build on all of these powerful conversations by focusing on what I call the sacred space between us. This is that invisible but very connective energy that exists in every relationship, not just within us, but within others. But in that shared field we create together. So before we dive in, I want to remind you that May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm excited about this theme because in turn awareness into action. This aligns perfectly with our work here. With our work here, as well as over there at Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast as well. You know, we're talking about relationships, so we actively working to transform them through mindful awareness and intentional action. But for now, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll ground ourselves and get into today's powerful conversation, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on this Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Join us this May for a groundbreaking series that bridges the gap between love and mental wellness. Love and Mental Health, a powerful 4-part journey exploring the intricate connection between relationships and mental well-being. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, join host Nyomi Banks alongside our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington, health psychologist and owner of Washington Wellness Institute, who brings his expertise to all 4 powerful episodes. Each week, they're joined by remarkable specialists. Week 1, May 1st, author of God's Divine Plans for Marriage and ordained Christian minister, Krista Nicole, tackles dating while managing mental health. Week 2, May 8th, marriage and family therapist Aquila Wheatley, owner and founder of Support Advice, discusses supporting a partner with mental health challenges. Week 3, May 15th, celebrity relationship coach and intuitive energy healer Terry Christie, TV personality and author of The Secret Power of You, explores couples therapy and mental health. Week 4, May 22nd, London-based clinical psychologist and sex/intimacy coach Dr. Lori Beth Bisbay delves into generational mental health and relationships. This powerhouse lineup combines Dr. Washington's ongoing expertise with specialized insights from our weekly guests, offering you a comprehensive approach to mental health and relationships. Whether you're single, dating, or in a committed relationship, this series delivers the tools and understanding you need. Don't miss this life-changing series. Follow Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap on your favorite podcast platform and visit AskNyomi.com to be part of the conversation. Because when it comes to love and mental health, knowledge is power. Always keep it so sexy.
All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. Well, before we dive into today's topic, let's ground ourselves with a mindful moment, all right? So if you could find a comfortable position and just close your eyes, I want you to take a deep breath in. Now exhale gently through your mouth. Now let's repeat that. Now, when you inhale, I want you to inhale connection. And I want you to exhale separation. Now I want you to visualize the relationships in your life that matters most to you. See them now not just as connections to other people, but as sacred spaces that exist between you. These spaces are living, breathing fields of energy that can be nurtured or neglected, expanded or contracted. Now with each breath, I want you to envision these relational spaces becoming clearer, more vibrant, more sacred. I want you to notice how these spaces don't separate from you from others, but they actually connect you in profound ways. Now take one more deep breath in, filling these relational spaces as they expand within and around you. And when you are open, ready, gently open your eyes and carrying this awareness with you. All right, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, this mindful moment is something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help ground us before we get into the topic of hand. All right, so today's topic, let's talk about honoring the space between us and our relationship. You know, often we think about relationships, we focus on the people involved, what I need, what they need, and how we can communicate better. But there's something powerful about shifting our perspective to consider the relationship itself as a third entity that needs its own kind of care. We talked a little bit about this last Thursday, on this. Excuse me. I was really struck by something that Leslie Lindsay Davis said yesterday about teaching people how to treat us. She said, we teach people on how to treat us through our words and our actions. Through our words and our actions. And that got me thinking about how the space between us, that relational field, is actually shaped by what we bring to it. I want you to think about a relationship that feels really good in your life right now. When you're with that person, there's probably a sense of ease, of flow, of mutual respect, right? Well, this space between you feels clean, clear, and expansive. Now think about a relationship that feels strained or difficult. That space might feel cluttered or constricted or even heavy. Same you, different relational space. And on Monday, Dr. Will talked about how relationships need two people who are actively working on being healthy. I think that's because when we're doing our own healing work, we can bring a different quality of energy to that relational space. We bring clarity instead of confusion. We bring peace instead of chaos. And we bring authenticity instead of performance. And this ties directly in what I shared on Tuesday about the real-time experience with my friend where we crossed into a political territory, which is a boundary for me. And what made that conversation difficult wasn't just that we disagreed. It was that the sacred space between us became charged with judgment and defensiveness. You see, that energy between us shifted from connection to contention. When I look at that interaction, I realized that honoring that relational space would have meant both of us recognizing when that space was becoming unhealthy and consciously choosing to shift the energy. Maybe that would have meant changing the subject or taking a pause or approaching the topic with more curiosity and less certainty. You see, when we honor the relational space, we're not just respecting the other person, but we're respecting the unique connection that exists between us. So we're saying, this relationship matters enough to me that I want to tend to it like a garden, removing the weeds of misunderstanding and planting seeds of trust and mutual respect. Now you might be wondering, what does honoring relational space actually look like in practice? Well, here are some ways that I've learned to do in my own life. First is that I bring a mindful awareness to the quality of the energy in your intentions. So I want you to notice when the space between you and another person feels like light versus heavy. When it feels light versus heavy, or if the open verses are constricted. When life-giving versus energy draining. When that conversation is no longer life-giving, but is now energy draining. I want you to notice all of that. When that open conversation feels like it's now constricted. When that light conversation has now become heavy. I want you to notice those things. And with this awareness alone, it can transform on how you show up. Second, I want you to take responsibility for the energy that you bring to the relational space. So before entering an important conversation, I want you to pause and I want you to ask yourself, what quality of presence do I want to bring to this interaction? This doesn't mean being fake or suppressing your authentic feelings. It means being intentional about how you show up. Third, I want you to create a ritual that honors the relationship itself. Like, for instance, my husband and I have this practice where every Sunday we sit down together with our journals. We write separately about our thoughts and feelings, and then we feel comfortable. And when we feel comfortable, we will share them with each other. This simple ritual, it has become a way of saying our relationship deserves dedicated time and attention. And fourth is to recognize when the relational space needs clearing, when it needs clearing. Just like a physical place can get cluttered, the energy between people can accumulate misunderstandings, unspoken resentment, old patterns. Sometimes we need to consciously clear those spaces through honest conversation, forgiveness, or just simply pressing the reset button. And finally, we celebrate the unique beauty of each relational space in your life. Every connection has its own special quality, its own purpose, its own gifts. And when we honor what's unique about each relationship, instead of comparing them or trying to make them all the same, we allow them to flourish in their own way. You see, I remember a beautiful conversation I had with a mentor years ago, and I was feeling frustrated that a particular friendship wasn't meeting all of my needs. And I remember my mentor saying something like, I'll never forget, every relationship has its own purpose. Every relationship has its own purpose. Some friends are there for deep conversations, others for laughter and play, others for practical support. So when you honor the unique purpose of each of your relationships instead of expecting one person to be everything, you free both yourself and the other person to show up authentically. That wisdom completely shifted how I approach relationships. So instead of me thinking, what's wrong with this relationship? What's wrong with this person? I started asking myself, what's the unique gift or purpose of this connection? Why are we connected? One, I used to say, what is the mirroring imaging of one another? What am I to learn from this about myself? And how can I honor what it is instead of wishing it or something else? You see, with this approach, it has been especially powerful in my relationship with my husband. He said, we've been together for over 20 years. And our relationship has evolved through so many seasons, before, during, and after my adult industry career. And now through my spiritual awakening over the past few years, through all of these changes, we learn to honor the sacred space between us, allowing it to transform while still maintaining its core essence. Now, as Leslie Lindsay Davis reminded us yesterday, is that the way that we speak to, the way we think about, and the way we treat ourselves needs to be so powerful that when we are dealing with others, or when we're dealing with the world sees the boundary that we have with them. And they know what we will and what we will not accept. You know, I believe the same is true for how we treat the relational space when we honor it with intention and care. You know, others naturally sense that sacredness and then respond accordingly. So here's my invitation to you today. I want you to choose one relationship in your life where you want more consciously to honor that space between you. It could be with a partner, a family member, a friend, or even a colleague. I want you to notice the current quality of the relational space. Is it cluttered or is it clear? Is it constrictive or is it expansive? Is it life-giving or is it energy draining? Then I want you to identify one small action that you can take to honor that space. Maybe it's initiating a heartfelt conversation, or maybe it's creating a ritual of connection. Maybe it's simple bringing more mindful presence to the next time that you all are together. But whatever it is, approach it with the understanding that you're not just doing something nice for the other person, that you're tending to the sacred ground that exists between you. I want you to remember, my beautiful people, relationships don't just happen to us. They are co-created moment by moment through our intentions, through our actions, through the quality of presence that we bring. So by honoring that relational space, we create the conditions of authentic connections to flourish. All right, so tomorrow on Freedom Friday, we explore how the ultimate freedom comes from loving ourselves enough to create and maintain healthy relational boundaries. You definitely won't want to miss it. And don't forget to join us next Monday when Dr. Will and I are talking about the transformation power of forgiveness in our relationships. That's going to be a powerful conversation that you identify that you want to be a part of. Now, if this episode has resonated with you, please share it with someone who might benefit. And as always, I love hearing from you. So leave a review or a comment about how these conversations are touching your life. So until tomorrow, I want you to remember the space between us is sacred ground. And as I honor this space with love and intention, my relationships bloom. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining me here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment. here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.